to everyone. The story of the old man and the sea takes place in Cuba, Havana. It is a story of an epic struggle between an old, seasoned fisherman, Santiago, and his life's greatest catch of fish. Santiago is an aged Cuban fisherman. For 84 days, he has sat out to sea but every time returned empty handed. So his fisherman society treated him unlucky. In the novella, some dreams and memories of the old man have been described. They played an important part in the story. They sustained the old man, they are the images of his youth experience. While going through the novella, we can understand that in his old ages and at the time of suffering, Santiago is supported by the dreams and memories of his youth. First, the old man is tired and disappointed. He has caught no fish for 84 days. He falls asleep and dreams of Africa. He sees the place and the lions on the beach. Santiago dreams of Africa, where he traveled as a shipman in his youth. He lived along the coast now and every night in his dream. He heard the surf roar and saw the native boats come riding through it. He smelled the tar and oakum. Oakum is a loose fiber to obtain by untwisting all ropes used especially in sealing a gap in wooden ships. He slept and he smelled the smell of Africa that the land breeze brought at the morning. Usually, when he smelled the land breeze, he woke up and dressed to go and wake the boy. But tonight, the smell of the land breeze came very early, and he knew that it was too early in his dream, and he went on dreaming to see the white peaks of the island rising from the sea. He no longer dreamed of storms, nor of women, nor of great occurrence, nor of great fish, nor of fight, nor contest of strength, nor of his wife. He only dreamed places now and of the lions on the beach. The dreams come to him when he is in trouble. The lion carried the association of youth, strength, and even immortality. This vision gives a new strength to him, and he is again ready to face life and its hardship. They played like young cats in the dusk, and he loved them as he loved the boy. He never dreamed about the boy. He simply walked, looked out the open door at the moon, and unrolled his trousers and put them on. He urinated outside the shack and then went up the road to wake the boy. He was shivering with the morning cold, but he knew he would shiver himself warm and that soon he would be rowing.
The name of the story is Old Man and the Sea. I am Akash and reading the old question. The boy's room was unlocked and he entered quietly into the room. The old man found the boy asleep out in the first room from the light that came in from the dining room. He touched the boy's feet gently, but suddenly the boy waked up, looked at him sitting in the bed. The boy woke him rouses when he saw the old man. The old man went out of the room. Boy felt sleepy, accompanied the old man. The old man holding the boy's shoulder said sorry. The boy said it is what a man must do. They walked down the road, saw many people carrying the mast of their boats. When they reached near the old man boat, boy took all the rolls in the basket. Happy. They gave the old man carried the mast with the flag sail on his shoulder.
After joining the on-board, Manolin asked the old man if he wanted coffee. At the same time, they prepared the gear, the equipment for getting ready for fishing on time. For the condensate milk cans, they got some coffee early in the morning. They made a conversation during the time when where they took their coffee. The boy said, "How did you sleep, old man?" Because he was still having hard for waking up and leaving the bed. Then Santiago, the old man, said, "Well, I feel confident today." After finished drinking, Manolin went to get the sardine and the bed to the house where the bed was stored. He really respected the old man, so he refused to have any help from the old man for carry the equipment into the boat. Well, for waiting the boat, Santiago took a coffee again, as though it was usually that he used to take before fishing, without carrying any lunch or food during his on the sea. Then Manolin came back with the bait, and the old man prepared to leave the harbor in the darkness, because the moon at that time was behind the hill. And some another boat also row out from the village and go on the sea. Good luck, Manolin, that's the old man say to the young boy before disappear in the dark. And the boys also say back, good luck, old man.
After saying goodbye to Manoli, Santiago started his voyage. We can see the boy's experiences and the realization of Santiago about the ocean and the ocean creatures can be clearly defined from this coming paragraphs. So coming to the page number 10, A3. Sometimes someone would speak in a boat, but most of the boats were silent except for the dip of the oars. They spread apart after they were out of the mouth of the harbour, and each one headed for the part of the ocean where he hoped to find fish. The old man knew he was going far out, and he left the smell of the land behind and rowed out into the clean early morning smell of the ocean. So even though it is still dark, Santiago rose out of the harbour into the sea in search of the elusive fish. But he was not alone. Many other boats embarked in the same direction, seeking the same thing. When they reached the mouth of the harbour, the boats fanned out in all directions. Today, the old man planned to head farther out than the others, with each dip of the paddle into the water. The smell of the ocean grew stronger and the smell of the land weaker. He saw the phosphorescence of the Gulf fade in the water as he rowed over the part of the ocean that the fisherman called the Great Bill, because there was a sudden dip of 700 fathoms when all sorts of fish congregated because of the swirl the current made against the steep walls of the floor of the ocean. Here there were concentrations of shrimp and bait fish and sometimes schools of squid in the deepest holes, and those rose close to the surface at night where all the wandering fish fed on them. So he rode past an area called the Great Bell by the fisherman, marked by phosphorescent seabird, where concentration of shrimp, squid and bait fish congregate within the sudden depth. It is here that many birds circle in order to find a marine meal. So, in the dark, the old man could feel the morning coming, and as he rode, he heard the trembling sound as flying fish left the water, and the hissing that their stiff set wings made as they soared away in the darkness. He was very fond of flying fish, as they were his principal friends on the ocean. He was sorry for the birds, especially the small, delicate, dark terns that were always flying and looking and almost never finding. And he thought the birds have a harder life than we do except for the robber birds and the heavy, strong ones. Why did they make birds so delicate and fine as those sea swallows when the ocean can be so cruel? She is kind and very beautiful, but she can be so cruel, and it comes so suddenly, and such birds that fly, dipping and hunting, with their small, sad voices are made too delicately for the sea. So here the poet tried to express the difficulties faced by the small birds, and it is realized by our character Santiago. What do you think about how difficult it must be to be a bird trying to fish with only a small, frail frame with which he must challenge a relentless and cruel sea? He believes they have a harder life than the people. Humans are often treated well by La Mar, which is a Spanish name fishermen use for the sea when they love her. He remembered when the younger, wealthier fisherman called her the masculine El Mar, as if the sea was a challenger or even an enemy. But the old man saw the sea, a feminine creature that gave out with her great fervor. So we can see this Santiago's realization about the ocean and the ocean creatures in these paragraphs, and he used to consider this ocean as La Mar, and he believes that she gives us great favors And when she acts wild, it is not because she's acting to be wild. It is her helpless situation. So, in the next paragraph, he was rowing steadily, and it was no effort for him since he kept well within his speed, and the surface of the ocean was flat except for the occasional swirls of the current. He was letting the current do a third of the work, and as it started to be light, he saw he was already further out than he had hoped to be at this hour. I worked the deep wells for a week and did nothing, he thought. Today I will work out where the schools of Bonito and Albacore are, and maybe there will be a big one with them. So, here we can see, after working the wells for so long, the old man decides that the deep sea may hold a more plentiful bounty. So he decided to be in fishing, and he loves his work more than he was doing before in the wells. When the light began to pour over the horizon, he suddenly realized he was farther out than he expected to be so early in the morning. So he was far away from the land, and he's trying from the last line. Today I will work out where the schools of Bonita and Albacore are, and maybe there will be a big one with them. From the last line, we can see that the optimism of the Santiago. He was expecting for a big fish, and he never gave up. And even though he is struggling, he was expecting for the big fish, and he continues his voyages. So let's move on to the next part.
San Diego started fishing before it got really bright. One bait was 40 fathoms down, the second was 75 fathoms, while the third and fourth was 100 and 125 fathoms below. Fresh sardines covered every projecting part of the hook, including the curve and the point. As each bait hung down with the hooks shrank inside the bait fish. Each sardine was attached to the projecting steel in such a way that it resembled a half garland. A great fish could not feel or smell anything on the hook that was delicious or sweet. The boy gave him two fresh small tuna or albacore tuna. This tuna hung like a lead bugs into the two deepest line, but they were still in a good condition and had excellent sardines that gave them flavor and charm. The stick was getting short. The fish can pull over 300 fathoms of line when needed. The man saw that the three poles were shrunk in the side of the boat, and he paddled carefully to keep the line straight up and down at the proper depth.
So we are moving on with the question. The sun rose thinly from the sea, and the old man could see the other boats, low on the water and well towards the shore. Spread out across the current, the sun was brighter, and the glare come to on the water, and then, as it rose clear, the flat sea sent it back his eyes, so that hurt sharply, and he rowed without looking into it. He looked down into the water and watched the lines that went straight down into the dark of the water. He kept them straighter, waiting exactly where he wished it to be, for any fish that swam here. Others let them drift with the current, and sometimes they were at 60 fathoms when the fisher thought they, they were at 100. But he thought, I keep them with precision. Only I have no luck anymore. But who knows? Maybe today. Every day is a new day. It's better to be lucky, but I would rather be exact. Then, when the luck comes, you are ready. The sun was 2 hours higher. Now it did not hurt his eyes so much to look into the east. There were only three boats in sight. Now they showed very low and far inshore. All my life, early sun has hurt my eyes, he thought, yet they are still good. In the evening, I can look straight into it without getting the blackness. It has more frost in the evening too, but in the morning it's painful. Just then he saw a man of war, bird with his long black wings circling in the water ahead of him. He made a quick drop, slanting down on his back-swept wings and then circled again. He's got something, the old man said aloud. He's not just looking. He rowed slowly and steadily towards where the bird was circling. He did not hurry, and he kept his line straight up and down. But he crowded the current a little, so that was he he was still fishing correctly to faster he would have fished if he was not trying to use the bait. The bird went higher in the air and circled again, his wings motionless. Then he dove suddenly, and the old man saw flying fish spurt out of the water and sailed desperately over the surface. Dolphin, the old man said aloud. Big dolphin. He shipped his oars and brought a small line from the under the bow. It had a wire leader and a medium-sized hook, and he baited it with one of the sardines. Sardines. He let it go over the side and then made it fast to a ring bolt in the stem. Then he waited another line and left it coiled the shade of the bow. He went back to rowing and to watching the long-winged blackbird who was working now low over the water. As he watched, the bird dripped again, slanting his wings for the dive, for the dive, and then swinging them widely and ineffectually as he followed the flying fish. The old man could see the slight birds in the water that the big dolphin raised as they followed the escaping fish. The dolphin were cutting through the water below the flight of the fish and would be in the water, driving at speed when the fish dropped. It is big school of dolphin. He thought there were widespread and the flying fish have little chance. The bird has no chance. The flying fish are too big for him and they go too fast. He watched the flying fish burst out again and again, and the ineffectual movements of the bird. The school has gotten away from me. He thought they are moving out too fast and too far. But perhaps I will pick up a stray, and perhaps my big fish is around them. My big fish must be somewhere. So, in this FA paragraph, we can see the hopeful and powerful mindset of that old man. The man becomes so old, but he have the courage and confidence that he can, which is missed in our present generation. The old man thinking that today or tomorrow will be his. So this paragraph tells us about the importance of self-confidence needed for us.
My name is Anaga Vinod. I am going to take the portions of A6, 12th page and 13th page. The as we all know that the story is Old Man and the Sea. In this main story, the old man was the main character and he is going to catch the fish. The clouds over the land now rose like mountains, and the coast was only a long green line with the grey blue hills behind it. In this sentence, he is going to catch the fish, and at that time the clouds over the land now rose like mountains, and the coast was only a long green line within the gray blue hills behind it. He's saying all about the clouds and mountains, and so that the water was a dark blue now. The water was a dark blue in the sea. The water was a dark blue now, so dark that it almost a purple color. It's not like a blue color, it is almost a purple color. As he looked down into he if he saw the red shifting of the plankton in the dark water and the strange light the sun made now. As he looked down into the sea, he saw the plankton. It is a fish. He is going to catch the plankton. He watched his lines to see them so straight down out of the sight into the water, and he was happy to see so much plankton because it meant fish. And after that he looked down into the sea. He has saw a plankton. After that he saw so many of the plankton in the water, and he was so happy to see such fishes. The strange light the sun made into the water, now that the sun was higher, meant good weather, and so did the shape of the clouds over the land. After that, the strange light from the sun, the light which is coming from the sun, which made in the water. Now the sun was higher, sun was in the higher, meant good weather, and so did the shape of the clouds over the land. But the birds was almost out of sight now, and nothing showed on the surface of the water but some patches of yellow sun bleached sargasso. In the sentence, it's all about saying about the birds, clouds, and weather, etc. Uh, sun bleached sargasso, weed, and the purple formalized krills and gelatinous bladder of a Portuguese man of war floating doors beside the boat. It turned on its side and then righted itself. It floated cheerfully as a bubble with its long, deadly purple filaments trailing a yard behind into the water. As he saw that the water is in a purple color and it's floating cheerfully as a bubble, and 13th page, Angua Mala, the man said, who or from where he swung lightly against his oars, he looked down into the water and saw the tiny fish were colored like the trailing filaments and swung between them and under the small shade the bubble and under the small shade and the bubble made as it drifted. After that, in the next sentence he is saying that after he saw into the water, he saw the tiny fish were colored like the trailing filaments and swung between them and under the small shade the bubble made as it drifted. They were immune to its poison, but men were not, and when some of the filaments would catch on a line and rest there, slimy and purple, while the old man was working a fish. He would have welts and sores on his arms and hands on the hands of the sort that poison or ivy or poison or can give. But these poisonings from the Agua Mala came quickly and struck like a viperish. As we know that he's going to catch a fish, and he's some of the but men were not given some of the filaments. It's all about it's all the things related to the fish and the water, mainly the water in a purple color, like that. And the next sentence, the iridescent bubbles were beautiful. The bubbles which is occurred in the water, that was beautiful, but they were the foulest thing in the sea, and the old man loved to see the big sea turtles eating them. After that he saw in the water a big turtle, loved to see a big sea turtles eating them. The turtles saw them, approached them from the front, then shut their eyes so they were completely collapsed and ate them, filaments and all. The old man loved to see the turtles eat them, and he loved to walk on them on the beach after a storm and hear them pop when he stopped on them with the horny soles of his feet. After that, the old man loved to see those turtles eat and them he loved to walk on them on the beach, and he loved to walk on with the turtles and like next sentence, he loved green turtles as he's loved green turtles and hawkbills with their elegance and speed and their great value, and he had a friendly contempt for the huge stupid loggerheads, yellow in their armor plating, strange in their lovemaking, and happily eating the Portuguese men of war with their eye shut. In this sentence, it's all about saying about the turtle which is in green color, and its elegance, speed, and their great value. He had a friendly contempt for the huge. In the next sentence, he had no mysticism about turtles, although he had gone in turtle boats for many years. He had no mysticism about turtle, although he had gone in turtle boats for many years. He had gone many years in the turtle boats. He was sorry for them all, even the great drunk bags that were as long as the skiff and weighed a ton. Most people are heedless about turtles because a turtle's heart will beat for hours after he has been cut up and bunched. But the old man thought, I have such a heart too, and my feet and hands are like this. In this sentence says that most people are heedless about turtles because turtles' heart will be at for hours, beat for hours after he has been cut off and punched. But the old man thought, I have such a heart too, and my feet and hands are like theirs. He ate the white eggs to give them himself strength, and after that he ate the white eggs to give himself strength and strong. He ate them all through man to be strong in September and October for the truly big fish. As he eat the white egg for becoming strength, he ate them all through man to be strong in September and October month. Next sentence, he also drank a cup of shark liver oil each day from the big drum in the shark where many of the fishermen kept their gear. As he liked to drink shark liver oil each day from big drum. Many of the fishermen kept their gear. It was there for all fishermen who wanted it. It was that the shark liver oil drinks in a big drum. It was there, and many of the fishermen kept their gear. It was there for, and this oil shark liver there for all the fishermen who wanted it. Most fishermen wasted the hasted the taste. Most fishermen hasted the taste, but it was no worse than getting up at the hours that they rose, and it was very good against all clouds and grips, and it was good for the eyes. This shark liver oil, it was good for the eyes. Now, next sentence. Now the old man looked up and saw the bird was circling again. After that, the old man looked up into the sky and he saw that the bird was circling again. He's found fish, he said aloud. After the circling of the birds, he had found a fish. He said aloud. He has said in loud. He had found a fish. No flying fish broke the surface, and this was no scattering of pirate fish. But as the old man watched, a small tuna rose in the air, turned and dropped head first into the water. The tuna shone silver in the sun, and after he had dropped back into the water, another rose, and they were jumbling in all direction, churning the water and leaping in long jumps after the bait. They were suckling it and driving it. After that, it's in this paragraph, it's all about saying he had found a fish, and at that time there were no there were no tuna, there were no circling birds like that. If next sentence, if they don't travel too fast, I will get to do the old man thought, and he watched the school working the water white, and the bird now dropping and dipping into the bite fish that were forced to the surface in their panic. In the last sentence, if they don't travel too fast, I will get to do them. The old man thought that he watched the school working the water white, and the bird now dropping and dipping into the bite fish they were forced to the surface in their panic. So, my portion, it's all about saying that old man is going to catch a fish, and at that time, all saying about the clouds and mountains and the birds which is circling, and all about a shark liver drinking each day, like it's all about going for a catching a fish. So this is my portions. Thank you.
He uttered Albacore out loud. He will create a lovely bait. He will be 10 pounds. He couldn't recall the exact moment when he had speaking out loud while he was alone himself. In the past, he used to sing himself when he was by himself and occasionally did so at night while he was on the turtle boat. When the young boy had departed, he had probably already begun to speak loudly to himself, but he couldn't recall. He and the younger boy would often talk only while fishing if it's absolutely essential. They conversed at night or while trapped by a turtle weather during storms. The old guy responded, "The bird is a great assistance." He had been maintaining a loop of stern line when suddenly it pulled taut under his foot. He dropped his oars and began hauling in the line while maintaining a firm grip on the line. The fish was compact and built shaped with big, stupid eyes staring as he thumbed his life out. He could see the fish blew back in the water and galled off his sides before swimming him over the side into the boat. As he pulled in, the shivering got worse. For goodwill, the elderly man struck himself on the head.
In this portion, Santiago was thinking about his past and future events. If the other heard me talking out loud, they would think that I am crazy, he said aloud. But since I am not crazy, I don't care. And the rich have radios to talk to them in their boats and to bring them the baseball. The old man is saying that people will say he's crazy if he speak loudly. But he doesn't care what people say because he knows he's not crazy. The rich have many people to talk to them, bring the baseball to play. Actually, he is thinking about his past, but suddenly realized that this is the no time to think the past and baseball, but to do something for which he is born for, that is fishing. He is only pick a straggler, which is an equipment used for fishing, which is very quick and fast. He is observing that everyone in the surface moving very fast, which might be a sign of special weather condition. Now he is describing about the climate and surrounding. He could not see the green shore, but only the top of blue hills. The clouds looks like high snow mountains. The sea was very dark. The light made prism in the water. Fishermen could call all the fishes of particular species tuna, only distinguish them by the proper name when the time of sale. It was noon. The sun was very heat, and he is feeling it behind the neck.